and my enemies are fact. Let us start if you don't want to keep it rap. Yeah, you hit us up and now we owe you something back.
We're gonna be great, man. I can't wait.
We are back, and let me tell you, to start off the show, I'm not happy about it. I'm really not happy about it because we suck. We're terrible. I'm just going to put it out there right on the table for everybody to just soak in. I'm sure if you're tuning in or you're watching this episode, you're well aware of how shitty the New York Jets are and how disappointing this season is. And if you consume Jets content anywhere, everybody is beating this dead horse, but rightfully so. I saw Joe Beningo's rant the other day on Saturday, and it was a awesome rant, and I give him I love it. Joe Beningo is one of my favorite personalities on radio, and I wish he was still every day. But we suck. We're terrible. We're a bottom tier franchise once again, and we are wasting an unbelievably good defense, and it's gut wrenching to watch. I'm your host James. Joining me is my boy Eric in his fucking Le'Veon Bell jersey.
Let's go. That's
it.
That's where we are.
Just more pain, reminiscing more pain in my life. Just reminding me of how shitty this franchise is, and it looks like we're going to go a 13th year without making the postseason. I don't even want to bring up our preseason predictions. We can throw those out the window.
Done.
We might as well just forget those even happened. We didn't make those projections. It's our first year. We're going to scratch that. Okay, we'll circle back next year, but. We got a ton to discuss today. We're going to talk about, the offensive woes that we're dealing with, Nate Hackett, Aaron Rodgers' potential return. But I want to start off with this first ever Black Friday game and this performance the Jets put out there against the Miami Dolphins. Eric, I got to say, man, every single time we have a holiday game, whether it's Thanksgiving or Christmas or something like that, the Jets, something crazy fucking happens in the Jets game.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know about you, going into the half when it was, 10-6, and I was like, all right, we're in this game. Like, we're in this game. Zerline, of course, misses the field goal. And then the defense comes out there and puts out a huge stop and gives us, 20-something seconds on the clock for us to, potentially make a Hail Mary play. And the most Jets way possible, the most Jets thing to happen. Like we said, Aaron Rodgers going down was the most Jets thing. It just keeps stacking on top of itself about how ridiculously bad this Jets franchise is. And I go back to what I said when Aaron Rodgers went down. I truly believe that Joe Namath sold his soul and sold the Jets to the devil. And this is why we're just perpetually bad every single year. But at the end of the second half, or the first half, Tim Boyle with his bazooka cannon arm fires a ball 60 yards down the field, puts some air underneath it. Like, that thing was shot up out of a cannon. And all of a sudden, their cornerback comes down with it. And I'm watching it on TV. And Eric, I don't know about you, but like, there was nobody around him. There was nobody. No. And I'm just sitting there watching it on TV, saying to myself, before he even got to like the 10-15 yard line of his 10-15 yard line, I was like, he's going to return this. He's going to take this to the house. Like, unless Garrett Wilson speeds back and tackles him, he's taking this to the house. And lo and behold, he goes to the 50, to the 40, to the 30, to the 20, to the 10, and he scores a touchdown to end the half with no time left on the clock. And I'm sitting there. I'm in a Discord chat. I shut my Discord off. I'm ready to fucking throw shit. Like I'm so angry, and it took me a minute to like catch my bearings, because I was like, and I started laughing because only the fucking Jets could do that. Only the Jets.
Yeah. I mean, it just adds more fuel to the media fire too. I mean, like, you know, days later, ESPN's still reposting it, saying, "I can't believe this happened." Oh, that's all anybody's talking about. Al Michaels on the broadcast was just shitting on us the entire time. Zerline misses the extra point. He's like, "Oh, he didn't get much practice this year, so it's understandable." Prick. But once he floated that Hail Mary up, I knew it was coming back, dude. Holland grabbed it. Wilson, you know, sold out for it. He tried to get it. I think
he was there at the goal line.
He's the only hustle. But I know right when he caught it, I don't know if that might have been Brownlee. One of the Miami guys basically just tackled Brownlee. No one saw it. He runs back. Everyone's at a shitty angle. But then again, no one expects a Hail Mary in the end zone to get brought back. Everyone is just half-ass effort. Tim Boyle is on skates at the very end. Like, I don't expect him to make the tackle, but
they picked up Breece Hall on the block. He's the only guy.
That was the only block. That was like the only real block from the Dolphins, and it was the only one that I guess that you needed to make. It was so fucking embarrassing, and you knew it was a wrap after that, dude.
I literally would rather stand in a corner and repeatedly punch myself in the dick over and over and over again than watch what I watched on Friday.
Yeah.
Like, it was so miserable to watch, because not just because of the poor performance and, you know, the fact that our offense cannot move the ball at all. We cannot score points. It doesn't matter if Zach Wilson's in there or not. Like, I'd be willing to put some money on the line that even with Aaron Rodgers and our offensive line issues, we wouldn't be putting up as much points as we originally thought. This offense is absolutely atrocious. We have it's embarrassing. Like, I can't watch this week in and week out. And Eric every single week texts me during the game. He's like, "I'm done. I can't do this anymore. Like, I quit. Fuck everything. Fuck you. I'm over this. Like, I'm over this." And it's so painful because at the beginning of the season there was so much hope, and then we beat the Bills. Like, after Aaron Rodgers got hurt, we beat the Bills. And we have this really tough stretch of the schedule where we have to go through a gauntlet of teams, and we put up a stinker against the Patriots. Then we come back and we have a great week against the Chiefs. We beat the Broncos, who are now looking like a decent team.
Yep.
You know, and we didn't play well in that game.
Nope.
And then we come out and we beat the fucking Eagles. So we're fucking 3-3 going into the bye. And I said at the beginning of the season, so did you. If we were 3-3 with Aaron Rodgers in that schedule, I'd be pumped. Like, I'd be like, all right, we got the easy part of the schedule coming up. The Chargers, the Raiders. As soon as we lost to those two teams, like, the writing was on the wall that we weren't going to really do much this year. Unfortunately, even though each week, I don't know about you, I went into the game like, all right, if we win this game, we're alive. Like, we can do this. We're still there. Aaron Rodgers might come back. We can do this. Like, we just need to, you know, string 2 or 3 wins out of this next stretch together, and we're all right. And every week, I get kicked right in the dick. Every single time. We put up fucking no points. We barely move the ball. We move the ball in between. Like, we have like 1 or 2 drives that look good, but we can't punch it in.
Well, the thing is, that's what it was. It was that we were moving the ball in between the 20s, and then all of a sudden it was like, now we have like the record for the worst third down conversions, and now we're not moving the ball at all. It went from like that; those were like the golden weeks when we were actually moving the ball. It was like, oh, we just got to get it into the end zone. We're like Sal kept saying, we're this close. Now we're not even in the fucking ballpark. Nope. We're not moving whatsoever, and it's like demoralizing. And I could only imagine being on that defense, laying your body on the line every play for 2.5 hours straight because they're the only ones on the field, and still trying to have some sort of hope.
The time of possession that you saw the Dolphins have compared to the Jets was like, I couldn't believe that was the case, because it was so bad. I was like, this can't be an NFL game. Like, this can't be an NFL offense. And hate to say it, guys, I hate to say it, but it's not Zach Wilson's fault. Zach is not the problem. I'm sorry. He's not good. I'm not saying he's good, but he's not the problem. Like, he moved the ball better, in my opinion, than Tim Boyle did.
I agree.
Tim Boyle was a statue in there. I mean, to be fair, we have to, always go back to the point that we have second and third string guys on our offensive line right now. Our offensive line has been absolutely decimated, and you can't account for injuries. There's nothing you can do, but at the same time, we made no moves at the trade deadline. We didn't pick up anybody. We didn't try to bring it. Like, there was guys on the line that I have never fucking heard of, and I'm just watching these guys get beat play after play after play, and I'm like, what do we do? Like, you put any quarterback back there, what do they do? And part of that's on the play calling, and I saw you tweet it out from our account, our offense. There's no creativity to our offense whatsoever. You watch the Dolphins, and the Dolphins are a special offense. It's very tough to compare any offense to that offense. The way that they run plays, like you watch them week in and week out, and you see them do things that no other offenses have done. And granted, they have special players and speed on that team that allows them to do things the way that they do. But that's McDaniels being smart and realizing, hey, this is what I have. What can I do to utilize their strengths? And that's exactly what he's doing with those guys, where Nate Hackett, who our offensive coordinator, we have some talent on our offense, and for whatever reason, we run these plays that are so vanilla. There's no creativity. It's so predictable. Like, every single play, like first play of the game, run to Breece Hall into the brick wall. Like, the very first play of every drive, like, all right, here we go. It's second and 1. We're going to run into Breece Hall. Like, why don't we do a play action and take a shot, put somebody in motion? Like, why don't we do some stacks on the side, and get some defensive confused? Like, get some guys, design plays to get guys open quickly too. Because we have to know, I'm not a rocket scientist, Eric. I'm not an offensive coordinator. I'm not getting paid millions of dollars to call plays. But I see that the Jets have 0 offensive linemen. Like, none. There's nobody there. Why don't we design plays? Oh, what is the team doing against us every play? They're putting 8 in the box, and they're sending the house. Let's run some wide receiver screens. Let's get the ball out of our hands quickly, like real quick slants. Play actions. Get guys confused. We run one naked route the entire game, and it gets exploded because we don't set up anything. Like, there's no reason for them to bite on that.
And this is the problem. It's like, and I got actually a decent amount of pushback on Twitter with this, because I was like, I'm down on Hackett, as I feel like most people should be. But the excuse that people keep giving is that he doesn't have good quarterbacks. And I get that. But the issue is the philosophy, right? You see that Dolphins offense. The philosophy is scheme open the playmakers.
Yes.
We do have playmakers. We do have guys that are running 4-3s. We have guys that could take it to the house. We're not doing that. We're on a 3rd and 10 or 3rd and 12. We're running 3 comebacks and sending Dalvin Cook deep. Like, everyone knows you're not going to take the deep shot to Dalvin Cook. And there's no rub routes. There is no scheming of anyone getting open. There's not enough motion. There's so many little things that it's like, you don't have to be an all-star quarterback to process. And also, Tim Boyle has been behind Rodgers for years. You're going to tell me he can't process that? I get it with Zach or whatever. The X factor with Zach is that he has a higher chance of making explosives, but he also makes explosive mistakes. Boyle at least knows the system. He knows how to read a defense decently, I guess. That's the whole reason
why he started, is because he knows the system.
So it's like, the principle is the issue. There is no creativity. They aren't scheming guys open. They're not creating. They're not setting things up, right? They're just keeping it as vanilla as possible, and it's so easy to read. And it's now that there's more and more tape on this offense, now you're seeing Breece Hall averaging 0 yards before contact. Like, he's getting contact, like, he's not getting any yards before contact now the last 5 or 6 games or some shit.
And
that's awful.
They give up on the run so quickly.
Yeah, and then they continue to run to the worst side of the line. Continuously, they'll rip one on the left for 7 yards and then go to the right twice in a row, punt the ball away. It's ridiculous, and the quarterback is not an excuse. The line is not an excuse. If you are worth your salt in the NFL, or if you're worth your salt as a coach in high school and anything, you work around it, and there's no effort to do so.
The question that I have is, if the offense doesn't work without Aaron Rodgers. The offense doesn't work.
Facts.
Plain and simple. It's
Facts.
not a good. If Aaron Rodgers has to go to the line and adjust every play call based on what the defense is, you can't design an offense for a team around that. It's not an offensive scheme because not everybody can do. Almost 99%, especially in today's NFL with the quarterback play that we're seeing. You have Tom Brady even saying how just the entire NFL, it's mediocre play, which I agree. Tom Brady's still a piece of shit, but I agree with him there. But if the offensive scheme does not work without one player, then it doesn't work at all. It's a garbage offensive scheme because that one player goes up there and he adjusts based what he sees on the defensive call. That's what makes Aaron Rodgers so great. He's able to read defenses and be like, all right, this is what they're going to do. I know exactly what they're going to do. I'm going to send this guy in there, and he's going to sit in the zone here, and he's going to be perfect. Boom, wide open. Let's make a play.
But you see this at every level. It's if your system isn't scalable, you're not a good coach, right? If you're a trainer and a supremely good athlete comes to you and now you're training that athlete, you're going to take all the credit for their success. That athlete's going to be great no matter where he goes. Now you're just selling copies of your ebook for your training methods based off of how good one person who came into your life is. If you cannot scale your offense to whoever's around, if the philosophy is not good enough, then you're not good enough. Plain and simple. So if Aaron Rodgers is the goddamn OC, then there's no need for Nate. If Rodgers is doing his friend a favor and giving him another chance because he knows he was embarrassed and maybe he believes in him, whatever. He seems to be like a positive guy. But at the end of the day, it's
he's gonna go on Pat McAfee and say, "Oh, I won 2 MVPs in this system."
Yeah,
you're an MVP caliber quarterback who can read defenses better than anybody.
Yeah.
You're different than everybody else, and I love that he went on Pat McAfee and he's expressed how he feels guilty about Zach because he was supposed to sit down. Like I truly believe if Zach had the opportunity to sit down, he has all the physical tools to learn how to read defenses and learn how plays develop and how to read the field once the ball is snapped. I think he could turn out to be a decent quarterback, but that ship is sailed. It's gone. Like he can't be a Jet next year, and I guarantee he's going to be. I guarantee he's going to be, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. I'm just not done with this Dolphins game because the Jets could not move the ball at all, and we were sitting here bitching and moaning for weeks at a time. We need to bench Zach. We need to bench Zach. We need to bench Zach. Everybody was saying this, and clearly, he was not the problem. Zach Wilson, in my opinion, would give us a better chance to win in that game. One because our offensive line is atrocious, terrible. They can't block a nosebleed. They can't stop anything. And Zach is way more mobile, so he's able to extend plays a little bit better. He's able to throw the ball on the run a lot better than Tim Boyle. But we could have gotten an explosive player too. That was really our only chance. And once they scored that second half interception pick six, the game was over from the first play of the game, dude. Gibson fumbling the ball.
I know.
The very first fucking kickoff, Gibson fumbles. It was over. It was over. I'm watching the game. It was a fucking wrap. And I hate it because I don't know about you. You're a little younger than me, but I grew up when Dan Marino was still playing, and I was watching Dan as a kid. And before the Patriots became that dynasty that they became, the Dolphins were always the team in the AFC East. It was always the Dolphins was the team to beat. And I hated the Dolphins more than I hated the Patriots ever. Like, I hated the Dolphins.
Yeah. And
the Dolphins game always, to me, was just as big, if not bigger, than the Patriots game, even when we were both bad. I love stomping on the fish. Nothing makes me happier than beating the fish. And, I thought the Jets would show up a little bit for this game. We changed the quarterback. We made some changes. And everybody was flat on the offensive side of the football and even special teams. The defense showed up. They played
quick.
Yes. And, you know, there's only so much you can expect from these guys. All these players that are super explosive and can take it to the fact that they only scored 37 points or 30-something points is ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, it's there, you know, I understand the turmoil, and like, you can't blame Zach, right? He can't sign a backup quarterback so he can actually get his redshirt year. And now it makes sense why Saleh didn't bench him so quick. He's sitting there. He's got dipshit and fuckface to choose from to come in for Zach. Yeah. He's got what else could you possibly fucking do?
I am I am a Joe Douglas defender. I want to root for Joe Douglas so badly, dude. I want him. Me too. I want him to be our GM. I do. I really do want Joe Douglas to be our GM because I've watched Jets football my entire life, and we have never, ever had a competent GM ever. It's never happened. It's never fucking happened. We hire these idiots who are out of the league right after they leave the Jets. They're terrible. Joe Douglas has made some great draft picks and some solid moves in his tenure as a Jets head coach. But he has also made some really, really boneheaded moves. And this year really shined a light on some of the things that he was doing. The fact that Josh Dobbs, who was lighting it up for the Minnesota Vikings, went for a 6th-round pick, and the Jets didn't kick tires and say, hey, can we get him for a 5th? We'll send you a 5. You know what I'm saying? Actually, our 6th round might be even better, so because we're worse. So how about we give you our 6th? It's probably a little better of a pick than the Vikings pick. Why didn't we get a backup quarterback like a Josh Dobbs or kick the tires on, you know, Jameis Winston or any of these backup quarterbacks that might have been available, and even given up a 3rd-round pick, dude? Like,
I would have for Brissett, but the reality is, it should have happened the moment Rodgers sat down on that turf. Even whether we knew it was an Achilles or not, Joe should have been on the phone right then and there.
No question. It's a huge blemish, and it's inexcusable and undefendable. Like the people that are calling for Joe Douglas to be fired, like, I'm like, man, we really can't keep having this revolving door of GMs, revolving door of head coaches, and expect to grow and expect to get better. We need to, you know, pick a guy who's good and ride with him a little bit through some turmoil and see if we can get out to the other side and give guys more than a 4-year span, when in reality those 2 of those 4 years were completely rebuilding and, you know, drafted by McCagnon and etc. You know, it's very hard for me to say, you know what, we shouldn't fire him, but because of this quarterback debacle. The fact that we did not bring somebody in. Now, it could be, and I haven't really heard many people talking about this, Eric, because it's very, very weird how things have played out with personnel decisions, with players being added to the team. It could be out of Joe Douglas's hands. It's very possible. It's something that I've stewed on a little bit. Now, Zach Wilson's family, his uncle, owns JetBlue.
Wait, do I got to get my tinfoil or?
Yeah, you might. JetBlue is a huge sponsor of the New York Jets.
Yep.
JetBlue, Zach Wilson's uncle, and Woody Johnson are very good friends. They're boys. Okay, now Woody's a cornball, but they're friends. Now, what if Woody Johnson is telling them, hey, we're starting the kid. Like, the season's, we're going to let him play, see how he does. We're putting him out there. You know, it is what it is. Aaron Rodgers is hurt. Who are we going to go get? Like, he's the owner. He meddles all of the time. This is an owner who's always involved with decision making and, you know, getting his paws involved in football decisions. for no reason whatsoever. The only reason the guy owns the team is because his family is the Johnson & Johnson empire, and he said to his daddy, hey, I want to own a sports team. That's literally the only reason he owns the Jets. But he gets involved and he meddles and he's like, oh, how can I, fuck this shit up now, and gets involved. And because of that relationship with the CEO of JetBlue, and that being Zach Wilson's uncle, it's not out of the realm of possibility that Joe Douglas is handcuffed and they can't. They couldn't make a move. He's like, all right, we're not spending any more money on a quarterback. We have Zach Wilson. We drafted him at second overall. Let's see what the kid's got. This is what he's here for.
I just don't see the motivation to do it, right? Because the coach said it. I mean, Saleh has been so respectful about it, but he said it in so many words where it's just like, he's not ready. He needs to just take time and read a book. He is not ready. He needs a redshirt year. The coach said that. That's from the horse's mouth.
Agreed.
So by actually putting him in, you're just hanging him out to dry, and you're making him look worse than he would have if he sat.
The problem.
His stock has went way down. I don't even see how he gets
question.
picked up by a team.
No, I agree. I'm with you on that. But that's why it doesn't make any sense. Like, this is why I'm floating out this idea, because the reality of the situation is Robert Saleh might get hung out to dry because of everything that's going on. And it's really unfortunate because he's not the problem. He's only able to put out there who he has available to him. And Zach Wilson's clearly the best option. And that's saying something. Like, that's really bad.
Yeah.
It's really fucking bad that he is the best option. Now, it's either Joe Douglas being completely incompetent and has no fucking clue what he's doing and is just up there winging it as a GM and is like, all right, like, Zach Wilson, we drafted him second overall. Like, we have to, make sure that everybody knows that we made the right decision and this wasn't a bust. Like, it's either that or Woody Johnson is fucking saying, hey, we spent the second overall pick. I'm the owner. He's our starting quarterback. I'm vetoing any moves for any quarterbacks.
Yeah.
It's one of those two options because Robert Saleh has no choice. He's like, all right, I got to start Zach. Like, it is what it is. Like, this is the best player I have at the position. So he's getting started. But if you gave me somebody else, if he gave me somebody that was worth something, and he put him on the bench, like if he was on the bench, then that's a problem. That's Saleh being an issue. But at this point, I'm blaming Joe D. I am blaming Joe Douglas. I said at the beginning of the season, in JD we trust. I don't trust this fucking guy anymore.
How could you? How could you? I mean, and then also think about the offensive line plan, right? You can't prepare for 14 injuries, right? But you're relying on Mekhi, who hasn't played. You're relying on Dwayne Brown, who's 65 years old and just had a season-ending injury, who's still hurt when he goes into camp. AVT hasn't finished the season. You didn't even really care if you had McGovern or not. You gave him $1 million and let him pick where he wants to go. You drafted a rookie. It's, and then Billy Turner. I don't understand it.
And there was tons of guys available in the offseason that we could have picked up. There was tons of guys that were available. Like there was rumors that even Bakhtiari was available for trade. Like, he'd be better than what we're putting out right now. Joe Douglas is supposed to be an offensive line guy. Like, that's supposed to be his specialty, is building the front. The front seven on the offense and defensive line was something that this regime was very big on. Saleh loves to build a really strong front seven on the defensive line, and Joe Douglas was supposed to be this offensive line guru who's able to scout these offensive linemen and build this unbelievable offensive line. He nailed AVT. Nailed it. Great guy's a phenomenal player, but he can't stay healthy. Mekhi Becton, he was probably our best lineman all year so far, to be fair. All year he's probably been our best lineman, but he's not what he panned out to be, and he can't stay healthy. I mean, he's probably coming back in 2 weeks, not this week, but probably next week. But do we give him a contract and put him somewhere? you know, you can't pay him big buku dollars. Like, you can't give him a left tackle monster contract. If somebody wants to give him a monster contract, I guarantee he is going to be like what's his name, the defensive tackle that got all this money from the Redskins. The big
boy,
Albert
Hainsworth.
Fuck. Yeah, Hainsworth. Thank you, Albert Hainsworth. He's going to be like Albert Hainsworth. He's going to get paid big money, and then he's going to dog it. He's going to be like, I got paid. I'm good. I don't need to work really hard. He's already doing that now before he's gotten paid. What do you expect him to do once you give him a bag?
And he's going to ask for the bag too.
Yeah, absolutely. And
he values himself at way higher than he is.
I think it's going to be a reality check, but the fact of the matter is, Eric, looking around the league, offensive line play has been pretty bad across the league. It's not just with the New York Jets. It's been, the entire NFL that offensive line play has been bad. It seems like fundamentals have gone out the window. They're not able to coach or coach up any of these guys coming out of college and turn them into true NFL monsters at the offensive line position. These guys are coming out bigger, stronger, and faster than they ever have before. But for whatever reason, one, they're getting hurt, or two, they're terrible. And you look at all these high offensive line draft picks across the league, very few of them pan out. Yeah. It's almost worse than quarterbacks. It really is.
Rex Ryan had a really good point on that. Did you see that?
No, what did he say?
He was saying that it's because of the offensive schemes in college. These guys are never getting into a three-point stance. They're never learning NFL blocking. Then they get drafted, and the league doesn't allow for as many hard practices. They're just taking much longer to develop. And by the time they're thrown in the fire with these absolute animals on the D-line, guys that are just pinning their ears back and taking advantage of these rookies, now they're injury prone. Now they have bad mechanics. And it's like same thing with quarterbacks. They get happy feet. Yeah. You develop bad habits off of being traumatized, and that's kind of what you're seeing.
And that's how injuries happen too. It's you have sloppy footwork, you're getting bullied around. It's how injuries happen constantly. Like the play Mekhi Becton got hurt on, he was steamrolled, and his leg was caught, and he fell backwards. Like it was sloppy footwork. Like that shouldn't, a guy his size, that should never happen to. He should never be pushed backwards. Like, he's a fucking monster of a human being. He's the biggest guy in the field, and it's not even close. But he's getting bullied because he doesn't have proper technique. They're not able to coach these guys up. And I think that's a great point because when you say that these guys don't have hard practices, I really think there's something to be said for that, dude. You look back at the NFL back in the day and the injuries that would happen. There was injuries for sure. People would get hurt. Yeah. But not at the levels that we're seeing in today's game. We have how many backup quarterbacks in there? How many backup offensive linemen? How many major injuries for skill position players? There's so many guys that are going down, whether it's because of the turf or it's because, I think, in my opinion, is the lack of hard practices, the body conditioning. Like we're fighters, dude. Like, we fought, and you have to condition your body to take punishment. Like, there's a reason why you sit against the wall and have your teammates punch you in the stomach and kick you in the stomach. And there's a reason why you sit there and you smack your shins with hard objects to deaden the nerves. There's reasons why you do these things. It's not because we're psychopaths and because we just enjoy punishment. It's literally to condition our bodies to eat that punishment. And when your body is not used to taking punishment like that, and you're going and you're slamming into each other at super high speeds, and you're insanely powerful and explosive, it's you're bound. Your body's not going to be able to handle it. Back in the day, they used to have, remember 3-a-days, dude? Yeah. Remember 3-a-days? They would have 3 practices in one day, and they just beat the fuck out of these guys in the dead of August. Like, it's 100 degrees everywhere in the country, and these guys are just getting after it. And not as many injuries were happening throughout the season. Guys were making it throughout the whole season. And I think there's something to be said for that.
I agree. I mean, I think the issue is, they're trying to limit head trauma at the expense of soft tissue injuries. Now you're seeing people's Achilles blow out everywhere. Yeah, part of it's the turf. I personally think a lot of it is just the training in and of itself, right? If you're going to do fucking deadlifts, bench, and Olympic lifts I don't see how that translates to an NFL field with three-dimensional movement. But not having that conditioning, that body conditioning, and you see it in high school wrestling. You have your hell week, you have your preseason. Like, it's all meant to strengthen your body at a level that's more than just recording times on a treadmill, right? It's you're building denser bones, you're strengthening your ligaments, your joints, you're creating better movement patterns, and you're getting used to impact. These guys are the top level of athlete, the biggest, the fastest, the strongest, the most athletic, and they're colliding with each other. They're freaks, and they're colliding with each other at full speed. You're bound to break
your
shit.
body is not used to it. Like I think about this all, like, you know, I used to train at one of the best gyms in the country in MMA, and I got my ass kicked every single day. Like, I got destroyed every single day. And I look back at it and I'm like, man, that doesn't look fun anymore. Like, getting beat up that badly every single day, because I'm old and, like, my body aches. Like, I wake up, I have knee pain, I have joint pain. Like, just getting punched and hit all the time, it just doesn't look as like I already know my body wouldn't handle it the way it used to. Like, it wouldn't. It would hurt a lot more. It would hurt my joints. It would hurt everything a lot more than it did when I was training. Not only because I was younger, but because my body was conditioned for that punishment. Like, I came from wrestling right into the MMA world, so my body was already used to taking that kind of beating. And now, if I started back up again, which I would like to eventually, once I get health insurance, that's the only reason I'm not training right now, because I'm gonna get hurt. But I guarantee it's gonna be a rough couple months, because my body's gonna need to be reconditioned.
100%. And you're seeing it. You're just seeing it. People's Achilles are just exploding at everybody. On everybody. Dude, it's crazy. I think it was like the last 5 weeks, one starting quarterback had a season-ending injury, something like that.
It's crazy, dude. Each
week. It's insane. It's insane. And that, you know, that affects ticket sale. I mean, that goes way up. I don't see how the Jets and Giants ownership won't come together and at the very least fix the turf field. At the very least, figure out better strength and conditioning programs. You got to invest in your product, because, like how we're saying, to kind of bring it full circle, we're not getting O-linemen out of college. Like, it's not just, besides skill players, you're not getting the guys in the trenches. You can't just, like, they're not expendable. You know what I mean? Like, you can't just draft your way out of everyone getting hurt. You have to invest in the guys you have. And you're seeing it league-wide, and it's backfiring, which sucks.
I think they're babying a lot of the play. Like, it's contact sport. It's it's NFL football, and these guys are being paid millions and millions of dollars. And I get you're trying to protect your investment, but in my opinion, you're doing damage by not conditioning these players the way that they used to. Obviously there's definitely ways that you can modify some of these grueling things that these guys are doing with the technology, the equipment that we have today, but there's got to be ways for them to be able to condition their bodies to make sure that, one, they're not getting hurt at a rate that they are right now, but also in my opinion, it gives them more time to train them up and get them better. Like, these offensive linemen are coming out of college, they have 3 practices a day going against the defensive linemen, where they're able to, do live drills, they're able to do technique drills, and instead of just cramming it all in an hour practice. Yeah,
and you hear this quote in fighting a lot: you can't be half in, you got to be all in. And the reason for that is not you have to be all in so you can be a champion. No, it's so you can protect yourself. You have to be fully involved. Yes. Any guy that goes into a fight who's terrified of getting hit is going to get knocked the fuck out.
Every time.
Every time. You have to be all in. And these players now, like, just the culture, the way things are, it's about the bag. It's about, I'm going to make money, have generational wealth, I'm going to get in, get out. And you're just putting yourself at risk for injuries if you don't fully commit to it.
Well, it's funny that you say that, because they're trying to get in, get it out, get paid, get out, and never play again to prevent injuries and prevent head damage. But in reality, they're ending up getting hurt, and they have to play longer because they hurt themselves during their career because they didn't condition their bodies. It comes full circle. Everything is connected, and I think a lot of these athletes are missing something in their workout, in their conditioning. They need better trainers. Someone needs to step up because these injuries used to happen.
I'll do it.
Oh, Eric, perfect.
I'm fine.
He's
I
our
got
guy.
it, so
He's
don't
the
worry
guy.
about it.
He's the guy. He's the fucking guy. So back to the Jets. The performance on Friday was atrocious and an embarrassment. And the offensive line is a huge issue. The quarterback room is atrocious. But I think the biggest issue, Eric, is Nate Hackett. I think Nate Hackett is potentially one of, if not the worst offensive coordinator in Jets history.
Oof. I mean, I wouldn't argue with somebody because for the first time in a long time, we have real young talent all around.
Name the Jets' best wide receivers of all time, Eric.
That we drafted, or just in general?
Just in general. Just in general.
You gotta go Marshall, Keyshawn, Lavernius, Garrett Wilson,
Altoon.
Oh yeah,
Walker.
true. If you're gonna go that far, Chris Hogan.
Dude, the fact that that's our list, that that's our list shows that the Jets have not had weapons ever. Like we've never ever had great weapons, like elite weapons. Like even those guys were not even in the top 5 as far as wide receivers go in that year. Like they weren't like the top 5 best wide receivers in the league. Like that you were like every week we got to worry about this guy. It was never like that with any of those guys. Like we had Santana Moss, even when we had him, he was so young that he didn't really make an impact. He didn't become good until he went to the Redskins. We stupidly let him go. But we've never had weapons. Our best running back of all time is obviously Curtis Martin, and we did things with him, great things with him. But after that, we had a couple decent running backs in Sean Green, Chris Ivory, Thomas Jones, LT for a couple years. We had some decent running backs, but never any elite running backs.
No,
none of those guys were best running backs in the league putting up numbers. We have that in Garrett Wilson, and we have that in Breece Hall for the first time ever. Like, ever. I've never in my Jets fandom seen weapons like these guys. Like
at the same time,
not just at the same time, just ever. Like they're that elite. Like I watch Garrett Wilson play, and I see him on the field. Every time he has the ball in his hands, he's electric. Like I only see that with other teams. I've never watched a Jets player and been like, bro, that guy, every time he touches the ball, could take it to the house. Like
Brad
every time
Smith.
he touches the ball.
I'll say Brad Smith. I remember that Brad Smith was that guy for me, at least.
But Brad Smith was a bottom tier wide receiver 3.
But I'm talking about when the ball's in his hands, it's like it was like he was doing something pretty amazing.
But not at the level Garrett Wilson is, man. Like Garrett Wilson, he looks special. Like he looks like if he had good competent quarterback play, could be a top 3 wide receiver in the league. Like that good. He makes special plays with the football. He needs to clean up the drops every week. He's dropping a ball or two, which is very frustrating to watch from a guy that good. But I also think that could be because he's pressing, trying to make
100%.
something happen with the ball because he knows that he's not going to get many opportunities. So at least good opportunities. And Breece Hall, I think the same thing with him dropping, tosses, things like that. Like I think these guys are, realizing that they need to put the team on their back and try to make something happen with the ball. Because otherwise we're not going to score points. Otherwise we're not going to drive down the field. So I see these guys on the team, and I see what they're able to do with the football when they have the football in their hands, and yet we can't move the football at all. We cannot get a first down. We have the worst third down percentage in football history. We have the worst red zone percentage in football history. Okay, these are stats that this offensive coordinator needs to own because this is on him. This is his offensive play calling. This is not we have the players that we have. We have weapons. We have a rough offensive line, and we have shit quarterbacks. This is what we have to work with.
Yeah.
And We can't get first downs. We can't move the fucking football. We can't score more than 13 fucking points and in a game, and usually we get those 13 points because of field goals or a defensive touchdown, not because of the offense.
Yeah.
It's disgustingly embarrassing to watch this offense play. It's 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. And anytime we have anything going, there's a penalty. And that's not on Nate Hackett. That's on, I think, Robert Saleh, in my opinion, and the coaching. But we need to figure something out with this offensive coordinator situation. And I don't know what we're gonna do, dude. I'm really at a loss because
I would be okay with this record right now if we're scoring points and it's just we don't have the quarterback to win us the game.
Yes,
right.
I'd be okay with that.
But we don't look like an NFL team.
No,
right? That's an issue, and like I get it. You know, the O-line, it's literally a fourth quarter preseason O-line besides, I guess, Lake and Tomlinson, right?
Yeah.
Who's not great either. And
Terrible.
We're running into penalties because of how late they are to their reads and all that kind of shit. And the defense is getting penalties because how frustrated they are with the offense. It's all kind of meshing in with each other. And it's really hard to blame on coaching or on whatever.
I blame Nate Hackett.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So it's like
I blame Nate Hackett.
Everything comes with context, and if I'm gonna put blame on a coach, because I'm on the same boat as you, I want some continuity. I don't want to just ditch everybody and restart because it doesn't work for us. Woody can't hire GMs. He doesn't know how to do it. He hires firms to hire GMs. I like what we have, but we are royally fucking it up with Hackett right now. And maybe you don't have to fire him or whatever, but figure out a way. We're stuck between a rock and a hard place, Eric.
It's a very frustrating situation because on one hand, Aaron Rodgers is coming back and plans to start practicing this week, which I want to touch on before we close out, and possibly come back for the Redskin game on the 24th of December, but and also next year as well. So it's a very difficult situation to say let's fire Hackett when Hackett is such a huge piece of Aaron Rodgers. And if we fire Hackett, now Aaron Rodgers has to learn a whole new offense. Now Aaron Rodgers doesn't know this offense inside and out. Now Aaron Rodgers has to adjust and make different play calls and different signals, and everything is new after he just went through this grueling rehab to get back. After he worked his tail, you got to give him credit. Like, you got to give the guy, like, this is unprecedented stuff that this guy is doing with his recovery on the Achilles. So you got to give the guy the credit and the determination, the hard work, the heart to try to do that and get back for the team. But if we fire Hackett, that's going to make things very difficult for Aaron Rodgers. I wouldn't want to relearn a whole new offense in my last year, potentially. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, that's a pain in the ass. So we're stuck between a rock and a hard place. Now, the injury and the replacement of the injury is not Hackett's fault, but not making adjustments and not building an offense around the skilled players that we have and the situation that we're in is a huge knock against his coaching and what he's able to do. And if he, like we said earlier, if he can't produce a good offense without Aaron Rodgers, he's not a good coach, and Aaron Rodgers deserves all of the credit in the world. It's like Adam Gase 2.0, who had Peyton Manning and was made this offensive wizard guru, and then he lost Peyton Manning, and we quickly realized the guy doesn't belong in the NFL. He should be coaching high school ball. And that's kind of what it seems like with Nate Hackett. He doesn't belong in the NFL. I don't think he's going to find a job after Aaron Rodgers retires. I really don't. Even if he stays and the Jets somehow win a Super Bowl and he's the offensive coordinator and Aaron Rodgers puts his team on his back and carries us there, I don't think he'll have a job outside of Aaron Rodgers' career.
No, and that's something that I think we have to account for. One, let's say we keep Hackett. Rodgers comes back, we do something great, Rodgers retires. We're going to keep Saleh and JD after a successful season. We're going to trust Hackett with a new quarterback? Probably not. And the relationship
Zach
between
Wilson.
or Zach, yeah. Oh, I honestly don't think he'll be here. But the relationship between
I wouldn't be surprised if he is. But continue.
the relationship between Hackett and Rodgers, in football terms, all Hackett is, he's just the scheme for the rest of the guys, because everyone has to learn Rodgers' cadence,
Yes.
Rodgers' checks, all of that kind of shit. So it's not so much like he will be lost in the NFL without Hackett's scheme. His scheme is not an original scheme. It's a normal scheme. He makes a suggestion, essentially, and Rodgers changes it. I wouldn't be surprised if, Rodgers just does his own thing every play anyway. You know what I mean? It just does, because because this is so goddamn depressing. I recently watched the preseason game that he played in versus the Giants, and even though they were like just getting their legs under them and it was a little sloppy, that was insane. But the offense just moved different. It moved completely different. Like you hear him making all these checks. You're seeing all these different motions. You're seeing quick throws that there's no way Hackett was calling those, because he's not calling them now. You're gonna tell me Boyle can't throw a fucking screen? There's no way.
Every play is quick is long developing with Hackett.
Yeah,
every single play.
Yeah, and Rodgers was accounting, like he took a couple plays, noticed the line isn't cohesive yet. We got to get the ball out quick, and whatever play is called, he's there and he adjusts at the line and makes it happen.
And I get that, but my point is, at the same time, I think he doesn't want to go through the growing pains of doing a whole new offense in his last year. Like this, he may only have 1 year. Like God forbid he blows his Achilles again. And he, is he going to come back and do it again? I doubt it.
That just sounds awful.
I'm just saying, like he's 40 this month in December next
2nd,
week. He turns 40.
Yeah.
40 is the new 30. Don't get me wrong, but
not in football.
In football, it's different. And quarterback, 40 at quarterback is not that different anymore.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be more of the norm, especially for the elite of the elite. That are super competitors. I think it'll be more normal because they don't get hit. They're super protected. In today's game, it's not like the 80s and 90s where guys were getting just destroyed back there, not protected at all, blindside hit after blindside, like the good old days of these guys getting fucking rocked. So it's not like that. So it's going to be more and more common as good quarterbacks come through the league. Even though he's the last of the Mohicans, in my opinion, as far as good quarterbacks go. Once he goes, it's like Pat Mahomes, and that's it.
CJ Stroud, baby, I really like him.
I'm here for that. I'm here for CJ Stroud. Marty, stop whining. I know my dog is whining, but Hackett is a problem, and I just don't think that we're going to fire him. I don't think we're going to fire Saleh or JD. I think Aaron Rodgers likes those guys. I don't think he wants to start over fresh. I think he wants the continuity as well. I think he wants to build on what they've already started and give a real shot at it. And if he comes back this year, which I hope he doesn't, I think it'd be stupid for him to come back. And that's the one thing that I disagreed with Joe Beningo and his rant, that he owes it to the fans for him to come back. At what cost? Is it worth him coming back behind this atrocious offensive line for nothing, to play for nothing? Like no playoffs hopes whatsoever. Like just for the fans to see a 40-year-old quarterback out there and possibly get hurt and not be able to play next year.
What if we win the next 3?
It's a big what if.
It's a big what if, but let's say that happens. You want him back?
If we win the next 3, we're 6 and 7.
Yeah.
Depends on what falls in the rest of the AFC. But that's a huge what if, dude. Like we got to play the Dolphins
100%.
again. Like it's a huge what if. Like
I will say this: Rodgers doesn't owe the fans shit. I'm sorry, because he gave us the most hope possible.
Yep.
I absolutely loved the pairing of Rodgers and Saleh. They're both team guys.
Yes.
Rodgers owes it's not that he owes, he's doing this as a service to the team.
Yes.
And if he comes back, it's to be like, hey, let's get some momentum going into the offseason. Let's nail the system. Let's clean this up, clean that up, clean this in the play calling, clean this in the blocking, get Garrett Wilson some balls. He would be trying to relieve the tension it's super high risk in my opinion. It scares the shit out of me.
The risk isn't worth the reward, especially if we go 1-2 in these next 3 games. Which is a very good possibility, maybe even 0-3. There's nothing would surprise me with this offense not being able to score points. Teams could beat us literally 7-0.
I don't want him to play against the Patriots. I mean, you know how dirty they play us. You know what Belichick does. He wants to set us up for failure for next year. You know, they're gonna die that Rodgers.
If we have playoff hopes, no, I don't think they're that dirty. I don't think that the guys, because
you remember what they did to Zach.
In today's NFL, it's a little different. NFL, it's a little different. These guys, they don't hate each other like they used to. Like, these guys had real rivalries. Now it's like, all right, the game's over. Let's clap it up. Let's exchange jerseys. We're boys. We're cool. Let's interact on social media in the off season. Let's hang out. Let's do all these things. That shit didn't happen back in the day. Like, these guys didn't communicate. These guys didn't fucking like each other. There was like real beef on the field for some of these teams.
Did you see the Bills and Eagles yesterday?
Oh yeah, I did.
Afterwards, Shaq fucking Lawson shoved a fan. I mean,
the players
it can get a little feisty.
No. The players and the fans are totally two different entities. Like for the most part, a lot of these players, they're, like you said earlier, they're playing for the bag. They're not playing for the team. Yeah. They're not playing to win championships in many cases. Some of them are, but not all of them. A lot of them are just playing to get paid and get out, get in, get out, and get money, which it changes the dynamic of the game. I don't think these guys, a lot of these players, are actively going out there like, let me just try to destroy Aaron Rodgers because he's a Jet, just because I hate the Jets. Like, I don't think anybody on the Patriots, like, it's not like it used to be. Like, I guarantee back in the day it was like, all right, we're playing the Patriots, like, let's rip their heads off, and the Patriots felt the same way about the Jets. Like, let's fucking destroy these guys. It's the game is so different, and the relationship these players have with each other. Like, Aaron Rodgers is like it's almost like Derek Jeter right now. Remember when Derek Jeter retired and he went around the league and like everybody gave him standing O's and like everybody,
it was beautiful.
It was beautiful. It was awesome. Like, I went up to Boston to see his last game.
Really?
Me and my father drove up to Fenway to see his last game as a professional baseball player. And
when he hit the walk-off, that was that game?
No, that
Sorry
was
for interrupting.
Stadium. That was on my birthday. Okay. It haunts me to this day that I didn't go to that game. It was on my birthday. That game.
Oh, no shit.
It's September 25th. It was on my birthday. He hit that walk-off to win the game for meaningless baseball. They weren't going to the playoffs, which is the biggest shame ever that Derek Jeter didn't walk off in the playoffs. It was a regular season game, but we drove up to Fenway to see his last game, and to hear Boston fans chanting Derek Jeter, it was fucking wild. Like, you'd never expect that from Boston fans, because the hatred is so deep. Like, I hate Boston Red Sox more. The Red Sox, the Patriots, and the Fish are my 3 most hated teams. Like, I hate those 3 teams more than anything. The Giants are on there right after that.
And the Eagles.
And the Eagles are up there too. And it's really only the Giants because of the Giants fans. I don't necessarily hate the Giants. I just hate Giants fans. Aaron Rodgers, I think, has that same respect. He goes to other teams, and other teams want to pick his brain. Other teams want to go up and be like, yo, what's up, Aaron? Like, oh, I'm so glad. It's an honor to play against you, blah, blah, blah. Like, the whole song and dance. Like, I a lot of players, respect him that way. Across the league, and I don't think anybody wants to see, especially him, get hurt. Doesn't matter what team that they're on, but I would like to beat the Patriots. So, like, if he came back just to beat the Patriots, I will say that would be fucking awesome. Like, if we're out of the playoffs, and he's like, you know what, I'm coming back. We're beating we're ending this streak right now. I'm coming back. We're winning this game. I don't give a fuck. I would love that. I'm not gonna lie. I would fucking love that.
Flip side, though. Tell me how Jets it would be. Rodgers comes back, last game. We beat the Patriots, which secures the Patriots the first overall pick in the next draft. You can't win, dude. There's no way.
The Panthers are really bad.
Yeah, that's true.
The Bears are really bad. There's some really bad teams in football. And there's some really bad good teams in football.
Well, it would guarantee him a top 2 pick, bro. Let's say.
Oh yeah, they're gonna be a top 2 or 3 pick, and they're gonna get one of those quarterbacks for sure.
Yeah.
They're gonna get one of those quarterbacks. But the question is does Bill get fired? And I hope he does, dude. I'm not gonna lie. I think if Bill gets fired, that's a win for the Jets.
True. You know, if you listen to Pats fans, they want him out.
I know, which is the wildest thing in the world to me. I'd almost want to fire Salisbury.
It's weird though. It's like, I mean, he's benched Mac the last 4 games. Like, that's weird to me. He seems off. Something seems off.
Well, I think it's a situation, and he's the GM, so he's the one to blame.
That's true. Yeah,
he's the one to blame. But I think it's a situation where, you know, Mac and Bailey Zappi are just not good quarterbacks, and those are his options. And and let's be real, the Patriots have 0 weapons. Like, Ramondre Stevenson is not an elite running back like everybody thought he would be. He's a very mediocre running back. They have no wide receivers, like literally none. Like 0. Like Juju Smith-Schuster is their best guy, and Osborne, who got hurt.
Devontae Parker.
Yeah, come on.
He flashed a little in the Giants game. That's about it. He's been a letdown.
But he's not good. Like, he's not a good receiver. Like, he's not a top 20 receiver ever. None of those guys are. So they don't have much talent around them, and their defense is good. So it's Bill not filling those holes, and I think Bill out chess moving himself throughout the years. Like, he gets rid of guys a couple years early to bring in somebody new. He's very good at developing guys. I will give. I like the Patriots are one of those teams that are still good at developing guys and, you know, get guys to be good after a couple years. So I don't know why the Patriots want him gone. The fans want him gone. I'd let Bill ride out into the sunset until he wants to. He's earned
I probably
it.
would too if he was on the Jets.
He's earned that. Before Bill Belichick became the Patriots head coach, the Patriots were a bottom tier franchise, a historically bad franchise, until Bill Belichick became the head coach and Mo Lewis tackled Drew Bledsoe on the game after September 11th and knocked Drew Bledsoe out of the game, and we got Tom Brady,
who was in the MVP race at the time anyway. So it's like they already changed the culture just from him, you know.
Yes, 1,000%. So. I think it's silly, but it would be a huge win for the Jets if Bill Belichick gets fired. Look at the revolt. Like, look at all these new head coaches. Like, really look at all of these new head coaches that are coming out. There's not many. You know, McDaniels is good, but other than McDaniels, a lot of these new head coaches are flopping big time.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Zach Taylor. Look at his record without Joe Burrow, 4-20,
and they weren't elite with Joe Burrow this year, whether he was because he was hurt. Like, they were not the same Bengals that we saw in the past couple of years. A lot of these young, look at Sean McVay. Like, he's really struggling since the super team they put together collapsed after that year.
Yeah, they haven't had draft picks in like the last 3 seasons. You know, but they got the Super Bowl and they had a couple appearances. But I will say this, dude, before we fucking wrap this up, PSA here. I don't want to hear any more of this like fire Saleh bullshit. I'm simply not on board with it at all. I don't think think about our last 2 head coaches, Todd Bowles, Adam Gase. They were duds, flat out duds. You know, is he a defensive minded head coach? Yes, but he is that CEO that we brought in. He is benching motherfuckers left and right. He is benching Aaron's friends. He's trying to he's doing whatever he can with the roster that he has, and these guys are playing their asses off for him week in and week out. And then the media, they do their very best to try to break us down nonstop. During the entire fucking Giants game, anytime DeVito completed a pass or converted a 3rd down or threw a touchdown, all they would do would tweet out, DeVito has thrown 7 touchdown passes in 3 games. Zach Wilson has 7 all year. That's all they're doing. They're constantly trying to pick on our shit. And he is trucking along through that. The people hate his press conferences because he doesn't bash his players in public. It's not for us. He says it. It's in-house. We handle our shit in-house, and that's how I would want my coach to be. These guys will play their asses off. He didn't criticize Breece Hall. He's told us how he could get better. And Brees Hall responded on Twitter basically reaffirming that. But people wanted to blow it out of proportion. This guy did set the culture, and that means a lot.
I agree.
And I don't want to see, like, Jets fans, they're looking, they want someone to blame, and I get it. This is painful. This sucks. But look at the reality. Look at the context, right? We're dealing with no one at quarterback. We're dealing with a depleted offensive line and a coordinator that only works with a superstar talent that we'll only have for one more season. It is what it is.
I agree. I'm tired of the revolving door. To complete honesty, I would love to see Rex Ryan as the head coach again. I'm not gonna lie. I would love to see him at the helm of a New York Jet with the sweater vests. Bring that back.
I'll take him as a DC.
I would love
let him and Saleh combine that defense.
And Ulbrich is doing a good job. I'll give Ulbrich credit. He's coaching really well. But
I think he'll get hired. That's the only thing.
It's very possible. It's very possible he might get a head coaching job. But I'm tired of the revolving door. We have a great defense. We have weapons on offense. We need some continuity. Like, this is the first time with this regime that there has been any hope. Like, going into last year, it was like, all right, like we went on this run. Like, really, last year was a throwaway year. It was a rebuild year. Like, we knew we did not expect to be 7-3 at all. Like, and then when we were like, holy shit, like, we got talent on this squad. Like, we could play. And then we had that epic collapse. Like, we should have been a playoff team last year. That drought should have ended last year, and that epic collapse was disaster. So going into this year with Aaron Rodgers, we had a ton of hope, and some really unfortunate Jets-like things happened and changed that. What I'm concerned about is if this team continues to spiral out of control and we continue to get beat badly, unless Aaron Rodgers has complete say over the personnel of the coach, which is possible, which is very, very possible. It's a good possibility that Saleh might have to fall on that sword. It is.
I get it.
It's a reality, and I hope that's not the case. I really do. But I will say, when we were getting our ass kicked by the Dolphins, we were committing these stupid penalties left and right and dropping balls, and we couldn't move the fucking ball at all. And all of a sudden, commercial comes on, and I see this big, stupid fucking Prince head Colgate commercial brushing his teeth. I was like, dude, you're doing Colgate commercials and our team is this fucking bad? Like, this is not the time to be taking endorsement deals. I don't care how much money that they paid you. Like, you're the head coach of the New York Jets, and we're getting our ass kicked, and now we have to see your stupid fucking face brushing your teeth and saying some cheesy lines.
I get it, but I don't fucking care. I don't fucking care.
Oh,
we have a coach that's in a commercial. Fuck it. I'll tell you what. When we were 4-3 and we're winning against all odds, we were like, if we make the playoffs, I mean, he's in contention for like coach of the year. Let's be honest.
3-3, I was saying that he was
It's like we can't forget that masterful coaching performance against the Eagles. That was one of the greatest coaching performances I've seen from a Jets head coach in a very long time.
I agree.
The way that they managed that defense, we didn't have Sauce, we didn't have DJ. The way that it just all worked out, that was one of the most unbelievable wins. And it's like we forget about it because of how awful it's been. But
so bad, dude.
It's like Zach. He melted down, dude. He's broken mentally. The media is going to get to him. The scrutiny is going to get to him. The team is ready to win now, and we don't have the capacity for a developmental quarterback.
Nope.
And context matters. And we talk about penalties. You think that these players don't know what a holding is? That they don't know? It's not even. You think they don't know the technique? Like, of course it's being drilled in, but it's contextual. The game fluctuates. The dynamic fluctuates, and everything is going wrong. Think about, we're this frustrated. These guys are competitive freaks, and they're out there getting embarrassed. They are as frustrated, if not more, than we are, and they have to go and get head trauma on top of it. So you're going to see these fucking penalties.
Every time the Jets have a big play, Eric, every time we move the ball, penalty, yellow flag comes out. And I'm like, it's coming back. Here we go. Every time. Every time. When I was at the Raiders game, I was sitting next to a bunch of Raiders fans. And the guys next to me, they're like, hey, every time you guys get a big play, there's a fucking penalty. Like, what the hell is going on? Like, it was every single time. And we can't get out of our own way. Like, we're constantly, with a quarterback like Zach Wilson, with an offensive line that we have behind the sticks, we are constantly first and 15, second and 10. We're constantly playing from long yardage situations, and we do not have a team, an offense built to handle long yardage situations.
No.
We become, it's second and 10. Let's run the fucking football. Like toss to Breece Hall. Like it's so predictable every single time. So there's so much going on. I'm hopeful that we can win a game or two going forward, but I doubt it. I really fucking doubt it. And at what point do we say, let's try to tank it, and maybe we can draft one of those quarterbacks to sit behind Aaron Rodgers and be a top 5 pick? You know, at what point? They're never going to, because these guys want to put good tape on them, but
I get it. Like, I get the idea of the draft. I'm not there yet. I don't think I would be, just because, like, even if we just keep losing, if we can put together a couple solid wins the last couple weeks, like, we're going to need some momentum going into next year, because next year we're going to compete for real. Like, with Rodgers, I'm going to just assume JD is going to grab a legitimate backup quarterback. This draft is going to be good. We're going to make some big free agent signings. Like, we're going to try to compete next year. We cannot have a fractured team going into next year. So my priority is I don't see the playoffs happening, but I need to see momentum going further from here. And I think that's what matters from a team dynamic. Of course, I want to go to the playoffs. I don't see it.
Nope.
I don't want to necessarily have to, like, and that's the other thing with drafting a quarterback. It's like, we're going to have a guy sit. We're going to have a successful season. Rodgers is going to retire. I don't want Nate Hackett around a new quarterback, dude. I don't want him in the fucking same building. So it's like, I don't think that's going to make sense.
It's a tough situation, because unless we win, it's Super Bowl or hell for the next 10 years. Like, literally, that's what we're looking at. Like, it's literally like Aaron Rodgers better win us a fucking Super Bowl, or we're going to be in hell for the next decade, because we're going to be in the middle of the draft every year and never get any of these talented quarterbacks.
We're going to be rebuilding again, right?
Yeah.
We don't win the Super Bowl, Rodgers retires, we clean house, and here we go. Woody hires another dumbass GM, the next Adam Gase. It's just going to... I don't want to see it. I'm thinking in terms Kotite. I'm thinking in terms of dynasty. I'm thinking in terms of culture. And although JD really pissed me off, I really do think I can, like, if this was a different franchise, I can see JD and Saleh being buddy for a decade plus, dude. Just the way it works, like just the way that they make these, like, they develop guys, the way that JD's always kind of like thinking about the pipeline, drafting like depth. He's drafting backups for 3 years from now, guys that aren't going to be starters, but guys that we're going to have as depth 3 years from now. Like, so I like the system and the ideas. Major fuck up this offseason. Obviously, in context,
and during the season,
during the season with the deadline,
it's inexcusable. Like that, like it's not like fuck, like he should have done this, like hindsight's 2020 kind of situation. Like, if I had known, he should have done that kind of thing. It's an inexcusable mistake going into this season with only Zach Wilson and Tim Boyle as your backups. And then when Aaron Rodgers goes down and nobody's hurt, like the only person that was hurt was Anthony Richardson. So Gardner Minshew is off the table as far as backups go. But other than that, there was tons of teams that had very serviceable backups that are playing now and winning games.
Yeah. Dude, I would have taken anybody. I would have taken Tyler Huntley from the Ravens. I would have taken anybody, honestly. It just literally anybody who has game experience. Boyle does not have game experience.
He had one touchdown in college. One.
Exactly. And I wouldn't be surprised if Hackett was like, no, we'll be okay with Boyle, because he believes in it. He recruited him in college. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he was like, we're going to be fine with just Boyle. Don't bother spending the money somewhere else. I don't know. I don't know, but
I hope not.
I don't know.
I hope not. Because I'll tell you, before the game, Al Michaels couldn't stop sucking this guy's dick. They were like, yeah, Mike McCarthy couldn't tell us enough good things about Tim Boyle, how good he is, and what all these coaches were saying about Tim Boyle. The guy sucks. He's terrible. He's not good. One touchdown in 19 starts in college, and then comes and he gets to start because he knows the system. Like, that to me is a knock on the coaching staff. Like, only starting him because he knows the system better than Trevor Siemian, who's got a full season under his belt as a starting quarterback. He's got tons of game experience. Either he's really, really bad.
That's what I think.
Really, really, really bad. And Tim Boyle should have got a job over him in that year in Denver. Or the coaching is making I don't know what they're fucking doing, because their answer was terrible. Oh, it's because Tim Boyle knows the system. He's been in the system for so long.
The only other thing I could think of is maybe they were, kind of maybe right now they're putting Hackett on the hot seat. It's like, okay, if your system works, put your guy in. Let's see if this offense looks any different. And it doesn't.
No, it looks worse. It looks worse.
It looks worse. It looks worse. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the motivation is. We'll probably never know until they fire everybody and Saleh comes out with a book or some shit. But
says how he was handcuffed, couldn't do anything.
Dude, and would that surprise you?
No, I think that's the case. It really did.
Yeah, which is crazy. But I don't know. Onward and whatever this fucking saying is, like.
Who are we playing this week?
Next game, Falcons. So, who have looked good recently?
They looked good, and they have weapons, and we need to score points against them though. Like a 20-point game isn't that like 20 points? I want minimum 20 points. Like so without Aaron Rodgers. This is like this saddest thing ever that I'm actually saying this. But let's just say Aaron Rodgers doesn't come back and we play the rest of the season with the quarterbacks that we have. Do you think we have one game where we score more than 30 points this season? No,
not a shot.
Zero chance.
How many
games do we score more than 20?
If
Aaron Rodgers doesn't come back, how many games?
You got to think.
And the Jets score more than 20 points.
We couldn't do it against Miami.
In the NFL,
we're not going to do it against. We're not going to do it against Miami. We're not going to do it against the Pats. We're definitely not going to do it against the Browns. So you're leaving the
Houston's
Texans.
Good as fuck, dude.
Yeah, you're leaving the Texans, Falcons, and Commanders. And listen, like the Falcons, they got a good D line and a good back end. That's going to be tough. Texans, D'Amico Ryans is a really good defensive guy.
He's a really good coach. I like D'Amico Ryans a lot.
DeVito torched the Commanders, so maybe that's what we could do. I don't know. It would just maybe be the Commanders.
Brian Daboll is a better coach than Nate Hackett at play calling.
Yeah, easily. He coach of the year last year.
I know.
And they're a dysfunctional mess too, right? They go to the playoffs. That gets Danny Dimes signed.
I got a lot of respect for my Italian brother, Danny DeVito from Cedar Grove, New Jersey.
I support it.
Cedar Grove, just out here Italian as fuck. I love it. I love it. I want to root for the kid because not only is he from our area, like literally a mile from where we grew up. Yeah. And he's Italian as fuck, and he lives with his parents still, eating chicken cutlets. It's the fucking coolest story ever. Like, yeah.
But he plays with spunk though. Dude,
yeah,
like
dude,
you see, he gets emotional.
Any quarterback that we have.
No one shows the emotion he does. He plays to win. He busts his ass.
Oh, he runs around. He's like quarterback. He's their third string quarterback, and they're moving the football and look better on offense than the Jets do.
Yeah, he's like an Italian Gardner Minshew. That's what he reminds me of.
Now Gardner's a little bit more quirky. Like he's a little.
No, I mean like play style. Like he can move around. Yes. Not a crazy arm. Like he'll get the ball out. He'll figure it out. He wants to win. He'll take his shots, dude.
He's a competitor for sure.
He's a competitor, exactly.
Big time competitor. And I respect him. And I low key I'm rooting for the kid to play well so he stays in the NFL. Good kid from New Jersey. But hopefully next week we come back and we have a victory Monday. Because otherwise I might shoot myself live on air. There's a good possibility.
I'll just hold my breath until I go out. That's what I'll do.
Kill myself on live YouTube because I hate being a Jets fan. It's the most miserable thing ever, and I blame my father every single day. I wish he was a Giants fan, and at least I could be cheering on my Italian brethren in pride. Instead, no, I'm a miserable Jets fan where the worst things happen to us week in, week out, and every single week it's like, what happened this week? It's ridiculous. We'll be back next Monday. Hopefully talking about a win, and we're not miserable, depressed pieces of shit like we are today. Just talking. We had nothing positive to say, dude. Nothing.
No, not one bit.
Not one
I defended Salah a little bit.
Nope.
That was about it.
Nope. Nothing.
I will wear this Le'Veon Bell jersey every week until we look respectable. I will embarrass myself for how much the Jets are embarrassing.
I don't know if I have a jersey of a guy from a team that was that bad.
I could send you a Sean Green jersey.
Yeah, but he was on a good team. But
he like phased out though. Like, you know, he got fat.
He was still on a good team, and he made big plays. Like, he was important to that 2009-2010 team. So I wouldn't put him in that. Like, I got Keyshawn, I got Ronnie Lott, I got Adrian Morrell. Adrian Morrell was a part of the 1-15 team. Like, he was part of that team.
But it's a dope throwback.
Yeah, like, only real Jets fans remember Adrian Morrell. Like, if you're not a true Jets fan, and I went out to a random NFL fan, you remember Adrian Morrell and what number he was? They'd be like, who the fuck is Adrian Morrell? You've never heard of that guy.
That's been our roster for the last 20 years. It's just
Forever,
made up
dude.
of a bunch of those guys. You know, people wouldn't know who Jeremy Curley was. He was a legend to us, but people wouldn't know who that guy is.
Stud, dude.
Yeah.
Jericho Cotchery, it's stud.
Cotchery.
One of my favorite Jets players ever is Jericho Cotchery. Like, that's crazy. Like really think it. Like, Leon Washington, one of my favorite Jets players of all time.
I met him.
Dude.
We got surgery the same day.
That's fucking wild. That's fucking wild. But that's what we've had our entire career. So hopefully next week we have something good to talk. We're still going to complain because it's going to be a miserable win if we win. It's going to be like fucking 13-9, something like that. If we do win, it's going to be like, holy shit, we're so bad. But we got to win. We'll be back next Monday, same bat time, same bat channel. Hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up button, helps us tickle the algorithms, Grundle. We really appreciate everybody that tuned in. Until next time, guys, JETS, suck.
In a city that never sleeps, where legends are born and dreams become reality, a new chapter is about to unfold. Last season, they fought valiantly, leaving their mark on the gridiron. But now, a new dawn emerges, a chance for redemption and supremacy. The Jets have honed their skills, forged their bodies, and sharpened their minds. The stage is set, and they're ready to unleash their might.
No friends in the industry. I had to draw the line between my brothers and my enemies.
We said 60 minutes. One by one, we're gonna knock it down.
Keep it rap. Yeah, you hit us up and now we owe you something back. Yeah, I had to draw the line between my brothers and my enemies. My brothers and my enemies. My brothers and my enemies. Yeah, I know hey, yeah. No friends in the industry. I had to draw the line between my brothers and my enemies. A fact. Let us start if you don't wanna keep it rap. Yeah, you hit us up and now we owe you something back.
We're going to be great, man. I can't wait.